In South Korea, within living memory, families have held a very particular kind of wedding. Guests, food, a ceremony. Just one detail. The bride had been dead for years, so had the groom, and nobody at that wedding thought it was strange. They thought it was overdue. To understand why two families would marry their dead children to each other, you need to meet the Gwisin, the ghosts of Korea. Because that wedding wasn't madness, it was mercy, and the reason Korean ghosts terrify even Hollywood. Because here's the twist Western horror never saw coming. Korean ghosts don't haunt you because they're evil, they haunt you because nobody listened. To explain, Koreans use one word, Han. There's no English translation, but there's a definition you'll never forget. Han is grief, injustice, and unfinished business, compressed into a single knot that a lifetime couldn't untie. And in Korean belief, that knot doesn't dissolve when you die. It's the one thing you take with you. That's the rule of the Korean afterlife. Die at peace, you move on. Die with Han, and you can't. Not won't, can't. It's not a punishment, it's physics. Which brings us to Korea's most famous ghost, the Chunya Gwisin, the virgin ghost. White mourning dress, long black hair, worn loose. In old Korea, unmarried women braided their hair. Loose hair meant order itself had broken. Why is a young woman the most feared ghost in Korea? Because in the old Confucian world, her life had a script: daughter, wife, mother. To die unmarried was to die with the story barely begun. Maximum life unlived. Maximum Han. This is 18th century Korea painting its own relationship with spirits. Munyo Sinmu, a shaman's dance, by the master Sinyun Bok. A ritual in progress, drums, offerings, women watching. Keep this scene in mind. We'll come back to what she's doing. The virgin ghost has a male counterpart. The Mongdal Gwisin, the bachelor ghost. Same problem, same restlessness. And Korea engineered a solution of breathtaking logic. Marry them to each other. Two strangers, two graves, one wedding, and two knots untied at once. Keep count. Every ghost from here on is a clue to why the scariest horror on earth now speaks Korean. Not every Gwisin waits politely. The Mul Gwisin, the water ghost, is a drowned soul, cold and lonely at the bottom. It doesn't want to hurt you, it wants company. Koreans still call dragging someone down with you water ghost tactics. The ghost became grammar. And then there's the Dal Gyal Gwisin, the egg ghost. No face, no eyes, no mouth, a smooth blank where a person should be. In some tellings, meeting one is the last thing you do. A ghost that is just an egg, somehow worse. Here's what separates a ghost from an ancestor. The properly dead stay family. Twice a year, at the chaser rites, they are invited home and fed. A Gwisin is the dead outside the system. No table set for them, no one calling their name. So who deals with the dead the system leaves behind? Koreans took no chances. This roof tile is 13 centuries old, a spirit face, baked into the architecture itself, glaring outward. The house was a fortress, and the enemy was the unquiet dead. When death goes right, an official comes to collect you. The Chusung Saja. Black robes, black hat, a ledger with your name in it. Not a monster, a civil servant. Death, in Korea, is a government agency. Temple paintings show the whole department, the 10 kings of the underworld, each running his own court, with judges, ledgers, and appeals. Death in Korea involves paperwork, 10 courts of it. Some things, apparently, transcend culture. But the Saja only collects the souls on his list, the ones knotted to the world by Han, the virgin ghosts, the drowned, the wronged, slip through. Someone has to deal with them. And it isn't a priest with a cross. Enter the Mudang, a shaman, almost always a woman. Her ritual is called a goot, and here's the single most important fact in this video. A goot is not an exorcism. There's food on the table for the ghost, music drums, dancing. And then the center of it all, the Mudang lets the dead speak through her. The family hears the grievance out loud in the room. The wrong is named. Sometimes they answer. Sometimes they weep. And the knot loosens. Compare the two traditions. The Western exorcist arrives with holy water and a command, "Get out." The Mudang arrives with food and a question, "What happened to you?" That one question is the entire difference between two horror traditions. The Mudang themselves have an origin myth, and it explains everything. Princess Bari, a king's seventh daughter, abandoned at birth for being a girl. Years later, the king and queen lay dying. Only medicine from the land of the dead could save them. 6 loyal daughters refused to go. The abandoned one went. Through the western sky, across the river of the dead, years of labor in the underworld for a handful of healing water. She saved the parents who threw her away, and the gods made her the guide of dead souls, the first Mudang. The child no one kept became the one who abandons no one. Shamans keep her image on their altars to this day, painted like this in the bright robes of the spirit world, not a metaphor, a working goddess on active duty. Does listening actually work? Korea has a legend that answers. The town of Mudang. Every new magistrate died on his first night, face frozen in terror, until one stayed calm when the ghost came, a girl, Arang, hair loose, a wound still fresh. He asked. She showed him where her body lay, and who had put it there. The killer was exposed. Arang never appeared again. Her shrine still stands in Mudang. People leave offerings to a murder victim from a folktale 4 centuries old. Because in Korea, a ghost whose story was finally heard deserves flowers. Now look at modern Korean horror with new eyes. The wrong schoolgirls, the sympathetic dead, the shaman drumming in a farmhouse yard. K-horror conquered the world on this exact DNA. Ghosts with motives, not appetites. You can't fight them. You have to understand them. That's scarier. And the Mudang never left. The goot is performed to this day in fishing villages and in Seoul between the high-rises. A living tradition of sitting down with your dead and letting them finish the sentence. Maybe that's the real lesson of the Gwisin. A ghost is not a monster. A ghost is grief that nobody sat with, anger that never got its answer, a person interrupted. The scariest thing in Korean horror was never the pale girl in the doorway. It's the thought that someone died with the words still in their throat. The Gwisin will wait for someone to hear them out. They have time. So if it's late and something in the room feels like it's waiting, maybe just ask what happened, politely. In Korea, that's not superstition, that's manners.